Hey everybody, mtGnoob here, and I am getting up into the spoiler mix. It's been a long time. We are on our sponsor, planeswalkerslibrary.com. In case you're curious, come check out their visual spoiler. They got a really great site, awesome everything. So let's get into it, starting with some white cards. They have apparently all 91 of them, so I am a little bit behind. But I'm going to go with the white cards first, okay? So we have Angelic Skirmisher, cost 4, colorless, and 2 white. It's been a while, so if I'm rusty reading, I apologize. Pretty sweet art. Reminds me a little bit of Exalted Angel. Creature type Angel, rarity is rare. It has flying for a 4/4. Let's see what it does. At the beginning of each combat, choose First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn. I'm really liking this because of the flexibility. It's a 4/4, which is a little bit of a bummer for 6 mana in this format. 4 toughness seems to be easily dealt with. I don't think this will see constructed play ever. I could be wrong. But it is a pretty sweet angel for casual play, and it's definitely a bomb in limited because you just make combat really bad for them. So like, let's say they have no flyer and you're low on life, you give it lifelink, and then boom, your whole team has lifelink. Or they have a pretty menacing opposition staring you down, boom, you give your guys vigilance, swing in, and then you have your defenses back. Okay, and then you want to beat through their forces, you give it first strike. And I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it says each combat, which makes this card much better since your creatures can benefit from both attacking and playing a little defense. So I definitely like this card. All right, Basilica Guards, that was said wrong, but forgive me. It's the weekend. I don't have to read on the weekend. They have 1/4 as their power and toughness. They are a defender, and they cost 2 and a white at common, human soldier, and they have the keyword extort. And extort says whenever you cast a spell, you may pay either white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain that much life. I've already kind of covered this guy, so I don't want to spend too much time on him, but I think he's going to be good. He's really good at being a grindy kind of card. Sits there, plays some good defense. Maybe he'll pick off little 1/1s. He blocks everything well that has 3 power or less. And, you play a card, then on 4 you play another card. Then on 5 you'll probably start getting some value out of him. So, pretty good. Boros Elite. Okay, it's uncommon 1-drop, costs 1 white mana for a human soldier. It's a 1/1. It has the keyword Battalion. Whenever Boros Elite and at least 2 other creatures attack, Boros Elite gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So when this attacks with 2 other creatures, it'll become a 3/3. So a 3/3 for 1 you think is like really great, but the thing is it's not that great unless you have 2 other creatures out. But by the turn 4, if you go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, so let's say you play this 1/1, then you play a 2/2, then you play a 3/3 hypothetically. On turn 4, you swing with all of them, this Battalion triggers, and then you're swinging for 8 power, which is it's pretty nice. So as long as you can get the creatures going, it's pretty awesome. And it's not a terrible top deck if you have other creatures in play. Okay, now here's a card I'm very excited about, and I think you should probably pick yours up now. Frontline Medic. It's a 3/3 for 3 in white, which is a pretty good deal. It's a rare human cleric. It has 2 abilities. First, it has Battalion. So whenever this card attacks and 2 other creatures attack with it, creatures you control are indestructible until or this turn. They don't use until end of turn anymore, I think. And that's wow. And as you can see, looks like they're going to be going pretty hot because of their second ability, which is sacrifice Frontline Medic, counter target spell with X in its mana cost unless its controller pays 3. Now, you might be saying, well, what X spells is this guy really going to counter? Well, first and foremost, he's going to end up in any human's deck, constructed-wise. Secondly, Bonfire the Damned is one that comes to mind. Sphinx's Revelation comes to mind, and the new one, Aurelia's Fury, which is going to be probably the best card in the set, comes to mind. So anything with X, Syncopate has X in it, so you can just have a 3/3 on turn 3 that when you swing with your weenies makes all your guys indestructible, and then if they try to play an X spell and you're going to get blown out by it, you just go, oops, I'll sack this dude. I think he's very fantastic. Really great design for a rare. Okay, let's talk about Gideon, Champion of Justice. So they've lowered Gideon's casting cost by a whole colorless. I don't think I'm as big of a fan of this version of Gideon. The debate is like, which Gideon do you like? I like the older version because it just feels more powerful to me, and I've heard that this guy's probably going to be, at best, a sideboard card, but you never know. I mean, planeswalkers do tend to be better than expected sometimes and worse than expected most of the time. So let's talk about him. First, he's mythic, obviously. He comes into play with 4 loyalty. Okay, his +1 ability is put a loyalty counter on Gideon, Champion of Justice, for each creature target opponent controls. So if you're playing against a control player and they have no creatures, his +1 ability is garbage. Kind of good in, I'd say, EDH or Commander, because you get to choose. But you know, I don't know if I don't play that format as much or at all. So I can't really say that, but hopefully somebody else can chime in on that. Okay, the 0 ability is pretty sweet. Until end of turn, Gideon, Champion of Justice, becomes an indestructible human soldier creature with power and toughness, each equal to the number of loyalty counters on him. He's still a planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him. So I do like how they made him indestructible, and they made it so the damage does not affect him anymore. Because, you know, obviously in the past, he was able to get like Doombladed or go for the throat. So it's really nice having a 4/4 indestructible. He can't attack right away, but so let's say they have 2 creatures. Now you play him, he becomes a 6/6 indestructible. So that ability is really, really nice. And his -15 ability, which if you're playing against an aggro deck, you might get there, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Maybe at the pre-release. Exile all their permanents. So when you do that, unless you're going to lose, try to get him above the -15 counters, maybe 16 counters. So then you do -15, and then you have him in play, and your opponent's just pretty much doomed. But overall, I think he's okay. We'll see if he makes a splash in aggro decks or out of the board. Okay, let's keep going with our spoiler. Luminate Primordial. Costs 7 and rare. 4/7 vigilance for an avatar creature. Go avatars. When this card enters the battlefield for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls, and that player gains life equal to its power. So maybe a Homan Reanimator, but I don't think so. 4/7's nothing special. The big butt is really good. Having vigilance is nice as well, so you could attack, you could block with it, but it's really expensive. But in draft, if the format is not too fast, which I think it's going to be pretty fast, so not great in draft in my opinion, but I think he's going to be really solid in at the pre-release and sealed, because on turn 7 they'll probably play a bomb like turn 5, turn 6, and then you'll just remove their bomb and they'll gain life, and it's exiled. It's not coming back ever. So it's that, you know, it has its redeeming qualities there if you're playing white, but you know, you don't, if you're at the pre-release, if you want to pick Boros, you're not gonna be too happy with a big 4/7 for 7. Alright, Murder Investigation is an uncommon. Costs 1 and white. Enchantment aura. When enchanted creature, enchant creature you control, so you gotta put it on one of your creatures. When enchanted creature dies, put X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is its power. So this is always good to put on something that has a lot of power. I can't be certain that this card is going to be playable. I feel if you're playing it, you're kind of 2-for-1ing yourself, although it makes you have a little bit of a bonus for 2-for-1ing yourself. I can see this being played on something maybe like a Thragtusk. I doubt that, but that's like somewhat of a combo. Like where you put it on here, Thragtusk dies, and then boom, you get 5/1/1s and a 3/3, but that's just pretty janky. So I'm not sure about this card. If you want to chime in, let me know. The verdict is still not in for it. All right, Syndicate of Tides cost 2. 1 and 1 white for a human cleric, 2/2 bear basically, that has extort. I think this is going to be good in your beatdown decks. I could see this being in like Boros at the pre-release. You play a 2/2 bear, you beat down, and eventually you just keep draining them for 1, draining them for 1. He's probably going to get outclassed pretty soon, but the extort ability will bring him back to the table. All right, so this has been the MTG Noob. Please check out theMTGnoob.com, and this has been your spoilers for the week for White. Thanks for watching.